Instant reaction time. We are live following the NBA season opener. We saw two games happen: the Nuggets versus the Lakers. The Nuggets came out on top, and the Suns versus the Warriors. The Suns came out on top. It was the best game of the night. The Lakers and Nuggets game wasn't that entertaining because Nuggets pretty much dominated the game. But we also had some other great news tonight. The Diamondbacks are headed to the World
Big
Series.
facts, big facts.
That's
Happy for
big
you,
time
happy for
news.
Jess.
What
That's
do you mean
lit.
happy for him? He's a Mets fan.
Well, Jess is Arizona, and by the transitive property,
He's
he's also
riding the coattails
Arizona.
of his girl. Like,
Okay,
oh my
no,
goodness.
he is. He
Yo,
is.
okay.
However,
You know what?
got to give credit where credit is due. He never really picked a team. He's been avidly trying to have conversations about baseball and the Diamondbacks, rooting for them every time
Shout out to the
before show. We talk
Diamondbacks, man.
about them.
Rav it's what time is it? It's 12:58 in the morning in the East Coast, and you hating. On who I'm going for.
I just find it funny how
You know why he's hating, bro? Because his team got kicked out of the playoffs too. Ha ha.
The Astros, they choked.
Loser.
Drew. Right message, wrong messenger. We own the Yankees. Keep that.
That's a shame, man.
So in terms of these season opening games, I mean, which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about the Lakers first so we can get it out of the way.
Oh, I'm crying.
The Nuggets beat the Lakers 119-107, and I think this game further proved that Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world. I mean, there's no stopping this guy, and these role players around him are phenomenal. KCP had 20, Jamal Murray had 21, Aaron Gordon had 15, 7 and 5. I thought what was really impressive about the Nuggets was a big question mark I had about them is how will their bench be after losing Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, two key rotational pieces? Who's going to step up? And they got some great minutes from Christian Brown. Reggie Jackson really stepped up.
Yep.
And Payne Watson made some plays here and there, and Zeke Naji was cool too. I mean, Drew, first game of the season for the Lakers, Anthony Davis dropped 17. He gets outscored by Taurean Prince. Austin Reeves doesn't have a great night. He messed up my parlay, actually. Needed one more point from Austin Reeves. I mean,
I did not know the Taurean Prince one.
What do you think about these new look Lakers?
Yeah, he was great.
Taurean Prince went crazy. Let's talk about the obvious. Anthony Davis was aggressive in the first half, tried to be aggressive in the second half. Shots were not falling. You have to be better than that. When you're going up against the best, Nikola Jokic, who is the best, he is unbelievable to watch because he's so effortlessly great. And I love that jab that you threw at me, Riv, of course, talking about this guy said Anthony Davis is better. I'm going to always ride.
It was perfect. It was so perfect.
Always ride for my guy, Anthony. But with facts are facts, you got to acknowledge them. We saw it in the playoffs. We saw it opening day. Nikola Jokic is just a different breed of basketball player, a triple-double, and really, it was effortless. Anthony Davis needs to be better, needs to be more consistent on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, he was trying his best to stop Jokic. He's simply not strong enough. Jokic is too big. He's too strong. When he puts his back to the basket, he's posting you up. He is going to win 9 times out of 10. He is just too strong, too dominant. And obviously, he's amazing at facilitating the basketball. Lakers could not stop the high screen and rolls. We had such a terrible time with navigating screens, and they were able to get open shots on us. Jamal Murray, KCP had himself a field day today. Michael Porter Jr., where he didn't have the most efficient night, he goes and still has his impact on the defensive side of the ball, rebounding a ton, has a double-double on the night. But the Lakers, it can't be that we're in year 21 and LeBron has to be the engine. It can't be. We spoke about it prior to the season starting. We can't have it where in year 21 we're as reliant on LeBron James as we were when he was first with the Lakers in year 17. It simply is not the case. The fact that Anthony Davis goes ghost in the second half, that is just irresponsible. He needs to be the number one option. The idea for the Lakers for the future, if they want to thrive, is that Anthony Davis takes the keys to the car and is the great driver that we are all expecting him to be. But until he hasn't been that. He hasn't been a consistent number one option scoring the basketball. He's an all-world defender, but offensively, you don't know which one you're going to get night to night. Gabe Vincent, D'Lo, Austin Reeves, these guys are going to be better for us down the line. Did not have the best debut. Taurean Prince, exactly what we want. him to be on the offensive side, knocking down some shots, just easy in transition. That's exactly what we want. He gave us exactly that. I'm not going to overreact too much on it, but of course, the player that I will be critical of is my star player, Anthony Davis. He needs to be better, especially when he's going up against.
Okay, I guess the situation was me go next. I think for the first of all, shout out to Denver. You know, big win. You get the ring, of course, on ceremony night. You got to capitalize with a win. I don't care who you are. When you get that ring opening night, you got to finish it off with a dub. So shout out to them. They came out punching. You know, offensively, they looked like they didn't miss a beat. You saw the role players, the young players coming off the bench, play their role. I feel like with the Nuggets today, it was a lot of too much passing a little bit. I feel like they gave up a lot of good looks that I feel like they were being too unselfish about. Defensively, obviously offensively, the jokerless minutes are still an issue a little bit, but
Definitely.
Reggie Jackson did play well. You know, Jamal Murray played well, Peyton Watson, Christian Brown, they all played well. I think defensively, I think offensively, Aaron Gordon is just gonna have to be more aggressive with the way they're just leaving him off threes, but really can't take too much from this game because Denver comfortably was up for most part of the game. For the Lakers, their problem this year is going to be on the perimeter. I think obviously Vando was not in the game and Vando's hurt. He's probably your best guy at screen navigations and defending on the perimeter, but that's probably going to be an issue. Last year you had Schroeder, you had Vando, guys who are really good in the screen navigation, communicating. This year it's going to be a lot of D'Lo, Reeves, Gabe Vincent, who are solid defenders, maybe not D'Lo, but guys who weren't good tonight on screen navigations, communicating in the screens. And you guys were getting lost in a lot of pick and rolls, a lot of options, a lot of screens off the dribble. Like it was just a lot of stuff y'all were getting mixed up with, which were leading to open shots for Denver. I think defensively, AD is a great defender. He can do a lot. But in terms of stuff like that, like he can't do everything. He can't go out and be that. You need your guards to be in sync. And then LeBron James minute, like without LeBron on the floor, you guys were terrible. And I think having another point guard, like D'Lo isn't a Mike Conley type of point guard, somebody who can stop the flow, create a good look for others. Like he's not a playmaking type point. He's a scoring guard. Same Reeves is a guard, but I think he's more of a secondary playmaker. I still think you guys are going to lack that. But for the most part, I'm not going to take, like you said, I'm not going to overreact too much because this is the Denver Nuggets, a team that already beat you guys last year. So I'm not going to react too much about it, but there's definitely some issues in that guard area. I think Taurean Prince could be taking Rui's minutes down the stretch. If he keeps shooting the ball like this, he was great for them tonight. Shout out to my boy Cam Reddish. The minutes I needed, them solid minutes. But
his offense is terrible, but that defense looked good, bro. That defense looked good.
Get open shots, play defense, you're fine. But for the most part, I think the guards might be an issue on the defensive end, but I'm not going to overreact too much to it.
We know what the Denver Nuggets are. They're the best team in the NBA. They're the most well-oiled machine. They have the best chemistry. This is a team that's been together for a several amount of years, at least their core. At this point in time, don't we know what Anthony Davis is already? When the Lakers traded for him, the idea was, as LeBron aged, that Anthony Davis came into that role as being the lead option on this team that you rely on a consistent basis. We are 3-4 years into this experiment, and LeBron James still has to be the guy in order for the Lakers to win games. I feel like at this point, we know what Anthony Davis is. He's a great player. He's a great second option. I don't think he can be a great first option on a consistent basis, given his injury history and his inconsistencies on the offensive side of the ball. Versus the Nuggets, there is nothing that you can do against Jokic. Jokic is that good. But to have 17 points tonight in the season opener, a team that swept you in the Western Conference Finals, and for you to come out for virtually the entire game and be flat, because the Lakers made some runs here and there, but for the most part, you always knew who had control of the game. The Nuggets were always just a timeout away from regrouping and then taking back the lead.
Easy to say in hindsight.
For me,
he made a great comeback.
You did, but for me, I feel like we know what
at one point.
That's what I'm saying, bro. It was 18 points to cut it to 4. I mean, I don't know if we can always say it was.
You made a comeback, but it was clear that it was clear control of Denver. They were in control of this game.
Yeah, that fourth quarter got ugly for sure.
at this point, I feel like we know what Anthony Davis is. It's not to knock him; he's a phenomenal player. But I think the expectation of expecting him to take this lead role and just say, "I'm the guy. This team rides with me." I just think that's over with, and I feel like we shouldn't have the expectation about him.
I think that we should. He's getting paid an unbelievable amount of money, deservedly so. He's an amazing elite player. But when you're getting that price tag, and we've seen nights that you can dominate offensively, we know you have those capabilities. Look at the first half. 17 points. He was aggressive. He was getting to his spots. He was knocking down some jumpers. That's the aggressive Anthony Davis that we just need to see for an entirety of the game. Not a second half where you go ghost on me, especially when we need you, when we're making our run. That can't be the case, that we go on this run and you have no hand in it. That's what I have issue with. But again, we saw it in this game that dominant AD is still there, but we don't see it for a consistent throughout the entirety of the game. That's the issue, especially when you're going up against the best of the best in the Denver Nuggets.
And he had 2 rebounds at halftime.
Yep.
My goodness, he had 2 rebounds at halftime.
Last year, he was the best rebounder in basketball. Again, this is just a matchup.
Was
AD,
it?
he needs to get out of it.
Sabonis led the league in rebounding.
In total rebounds or average rebounds?
But rebounds per game, Sabonis played more games than Davis.
Yeah,
so
I think Sabonis was probably the best rebounder in the game.
Yeah, I think he led the NBA.
AD was up there though for sure. I just think, like Drew mentioned, I agree with Drew in that degree where you get paid the big bucks. You know, you're one of the best two-way players in basketball. You're considered one of the best 10 to 12 players in the world. We expect you to come out and be aggressive, especially with a guy like LeBron James, who, as great as he is, you know, one of the greatest players we've ever seen.
AD was number 1. Sabonis was number 2.
In rebounds per game?
Correct.
5.
AD was at 12.5. Sabonis was at 12.3.
You expect, you know what I'm saying, LeBron James, as great as he is, he's 40 years, he's about to be 40 years old. You know, you want AD to kind of take over the team and be that number 1 guy. And I think it's not foolish of Drew to expect that from Anthony Davis. You know, you come out firing, and in the first half you have 17 points. Let's be realistic. Denver doesn't have an answer for you either. You know, as much as they don't have an answer for the Joker, AD, they don't have an answer for you. You are a mismatch on the court for them. And you just come out flat in the second half. You're not as aggressive. You're missing some shots. You know, I think AD has to be that aggressive this year. Like, he has to be that two-way prowess where you giving us 25 points per game. Even the defense wasn't existent in this game. Like, it didn't give me that presence that he was this elite defender on the floor. Like, the Nuggets got whatever they wanted. And I like the scheme they have when they have AD roaming, because putting AD on the Joker is kind of taken away from his best attribute, especially when you can't stop the Joker. And they went to it a little bit, but they didn't fully commit to that. And I think that's what you have to play against Denver, because that's when they were at their best defensively. You know, AD's roaming. You have another guy going the Joker, and AD can just help. Honestly, you should just put AD on Aaron Gordon, have him help the whole time, or whoever else. But at the same time,
becomes that. I'm sorry, Riff, to interrupt you, but that issue becomes, who are we putting on Jokic? Like, are we running a Christian Wood, Anthony Davis lineup where that's possible? Because even if that's the case, talking strictly going up against the Nuggets, they're running the lineup of Aaron Gordon. I guess he could be a roamer on Aaron Gordon, but that MPJ, KCP, Jamal, like, they're too quick, they're too versatile. It becomes super difficult unless you really do have Christian Wood out there who Jokic is going to destroy. You know what I mean? It's just it's so difficult to guard against the Nuggets.
You can have that expectation, but I'm not going to have it because I just don't think he's that guy. And I'm not going to expect something when I know it's not going to come. I think at this point, it's not going to come. And there was a report that just came out from ESPN that the Lakers are planning to limit LeBron's minutes this year at 28 to 30 minutes per game.
Good.
The depth has to show up, and I think it can. Austin Reeves has to play better. I think this wasn't a good outing from him. Generational efficiency in the Western Conference Finals. Fresh off that, you know, it's just one game. But, I mean, let's see what Austin Reeves does this year.
Listen, Joel, don't get caught going back and forth because you believed in the Austin Reeves hype this offseason. Don't do that.
Yeah. He should be a better player. Yes, he should. He should average 18.
Game 1, he had a bad night. It is what it is.
I never said he's not going to be that. I just said he had a bad game.
Did you pick up what he was putting down, bro?
He you know how he.
What I
gets,
say? What I say? I
man.
just said he
This guy's
generational
slimy,
efficiency.
man.
First game into the season, I don't see Reeves.
He gets in his joking mood, you know. I do think, you know, having D'Lo and Gabe Vincent are kind of redundant, you know, and I think not having a true playmaker might hurt with the LeBron-less minutes. You know, I think D'Lo, you guys gave him the extension. Bringing him back was cool, but you watched him tonight. He doesn't really create for others. You know, he's kind of looking to score for himself, and he kind of runs at his own pace. And I think it's kind of detrimental to the team. And defensively, you know, the effort was there, but he's just
D'Lo?
not. Yeah, D'Lo. He's just not good on the defensive end. You know, he's not good at navigating screens. He's not good at switching. You know, he's not good at a POA defender. He's not good in the help side. So it's like, and Gabe Vincent is good, but he's small. You know, and Aaron Gordon, when they seen him in switches, he was able to take advantage of Reeves, D'Lo. Like, Aaron Gordon was doing whatever he wanted also. So I think that guard situation is really going to hurt the Lakers. But for the most part, LeBron getting limited is going to put a lot of pressure on these other players, and they have to show up.
Now, Drew, when I put a parlay on you, and I just need you to score 15 points off
I
of
can
generational
understand that.
efficiency in the West
get it.
Conference Finals,
I get
and
it.
you score 14 and miss a technical free throw that could have got you to 15.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
the hype dies down.
I'm sorry.
I got some super chats here. Ricky goes, "Who's your daddy? Let's stop
Oh.
overrated Lake Show bum squad. They will be competing for a playing spot. KD clears LeBron, by the way, Drew."
I gotta say, Ricky is one of the funniest viewers that we have, because Ricky's a Broncos fan, so I really fuck with Ricky. But then when it comes to basketball, this guy just has it out for me. That it's a funny super chat.
I'll be honest, saying
appreciate the
KD clears
donation.
LeBron is crazy at the moment.
Especially after
not
KD
tonight.
had a
Not
pooper
tonight.
and LeBron was OD. His efficiency was crazy. And again, we already spoke about the Lakers without him. But yeah, we're gonna be okay. It's early.
Ricky also sent another one that said Kuminga over Austin Reeves.
Oh.
Feels good that the Mavs gonna start 1-0
He's
and the
violating
Lakers
you,
lost
Drew.
already. Joel Mavs agenda check.
Again,
Drew,
yeah,
he's
he's a
violating
Mavericks
you.
fan. He's a Mavericks fan talking to me about
He's a smart man.
basketball.
He's a
He's
smart
losing
man.
me. He's losing me fast.
J Mac goes, Aaron Gordon and KCP are two of the top 5 role players in the NBA.
I guess it
Aaron
depends on
Gordon-
what you
Aaron
define
Gordon's
as a
up
role
there.
player.
They are role players.
No, I'm saying like other players.
That's a good topic.
Non-all-stars.
Like I think 2 of the top 5. I think Wiggins and Caruso are better than KCP as role players.
Is Wiggins a role player? He's an all-star.
No, he's a role player, buddy.
He's an all-star.
He's a high-level role player.
All right,
Is
so Drew
Wiggins
Holiday's
better
a
than
role
Aaron
player.
Gordon?
I think I would take Aaron because he's a better rebounder, but I think Wiggins is a better shooter. They're different. They're the same, but they're different. Right now, you probably take AG because he's coming off the chip run. You know, he played last year. You probably take Wiggs. So
Next super chat from Damian Delgado. Did the Suns do better building around Booker than the Blazers ever did building around Dame?
Absolutely.
yeah, I would say so.
But the unfair part of it is that Kevin Durant wanted to go to Phoenix. Whoever wanted to go to Portland? No
That's a
one.
good point. Nobody. Portland's a nice city, I heard.
And Santos goes 1,000 Patreon members. Drew wearing a Mahomes t-shirt ?
We're hoping, man.
Better chance I eat my own shit. Honestly.
So 1,000
Let's do that.
Patrons, you eat your own
1,000
shit?
Patrons. Drew
Andrew
eats his
eats
own
the
shit.
shit.
We posted on TikTok, Twitter. You're done, buddy.
And Ricky goes, when we get in the first stream yard.
I think I know what he means. He's talking about playback. That's a TBD.
Yeah, we're done.
Definitely talk about it with the management. You know, see what's up. See what's up there. Let's talk about the final game of opening night. The Suns beat the Warriors 108 to 104. You know, Devin Booker had to show out. Devin Booker did his thing.
He had to
Third
backpack
quarter
KD.
sloppy. I'll be honest. This was an ugly game. The last couple of minutes of this game was highly entertaining. It was back and forth. But for the majority of this game, it was just sloppy basketball. Josh Okogie really showed out for the Suns. He was one of the few players that played at a high level in terms of effort. I felt like the effort level from a lot of the players on Phoenix wasn't really there, including Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, I feel like, was flailing and falling all over the place. Are we at a point now where Devin Booker is the best player on the Phoenix Suns?
You're the KD guy. You tell us.
I was going to say that's a question for you, brother.
I think Devin Booker is the best player on his Suns.
Hmm.
When I think about the Phoenix
the
Suns, and
mighty
I,
have fallen,
I
man.
think about in the final moments of a game, who are the Suns going to go to get a bucket? Is it going to be Devin Booker or is it going to be Kevin Durant? You might say based on the game, it could be either or. But I'm saying that on a more consistent basis, Booker's going to be having that better game. And I think Booker's going to be that go-to guy at the end of the games. He always has the ball in his hands. And I don't think Kevin Durant can do what Devin Booker can do as a scorer right now. I think Devin Booker is a better scorer than Kevin Durant. Durant makes it look effortless, but Devin Booker pressures the basket. He has a post game. He has a deadly mid-range. All the things KD has as well, along with the three-point shot. But what separates D Book is the rim pressure and what he offers as a playmaker. I think he's going to be the lead decision maker for this team. And based off the playoff run that we just saw and how amazing Booker was and how we saw KD very inconsistent, it's just hard for me to say KD's the best player on this team. And you can argue that, well, the defensive attention was more so on KD. I don't think that's the case. I felt like both of them in the playoffs got similar defensive attention, and Devin Booker was the better player.
I do think, going off here to talk about it for a little bit, I think this game, a lot of the defensive attention that was towards KD, I feel like you could have threw the same looks at Devin Booker. You know, I don't think they got the same defensive looks this game, and I think that hurt us in the long run. I do think late down the stretch, so what you see from Devin Booker as a passer was very open. Like you saw him make the right play. They got good looks at it. Even coming off the screen, making the play to the corner in Okogie. That was a great pass. You saw Chris Paul cheating. You made the read. I think Kevin Durant can't offer you that at the moment. Like at this point in his career, he cannot offer that, which is fine. You know, he's 34, 35. You know, it's okay. He's already solidified. He can just be that scorer. I don't think there's no situation where Bradley Beal's going to be that guy. So it's going to be respect to Bradley. But I just think Booker and KD on a different level to him. And it's going to be on a consistent basis. Devin Booker, because this is his team. You know, this is his team at this point. You know, he's the better playmaker, like Joel mentioned. He has more variety of ways to score than Kevin Durant because of the rim pressure, because of the fact that he's a deadly mid-range shooter, deadly post-up game, has the three ball, works amazing in the pick and roll, and he's a better passer.
He's the better passer.
I think, you know, Devin Booker being the best player in the team, I don't think it's a far stretch. We have to just see. We saw it in the playoffs. We probably have to see it a little bit more this year, which we would. I think he'll be in more positions. But just to talk about the game, I mean, you saw Devin Booker just go in the clinic. The Warriors had nothing for him. You know, the most I would have like me and Drew were talking about it before the stream, the most I can see switch is Draymond being the guy in those pick and rolls on the backline defense. That's the most I can see. But for the most part, like in one-on-one situation, you know, you love Kuminga, you love Wiggs, but pretty much Devin Booker was having his way when he got the mismatch with Steph or Chris Paul. You know, GP was probably the best defender on him because he's the small, annoying one, but Devin Booker played amazing. And you mentioned it. Okogie was great. You know, on the glass, the effort was there. He was giving the defensive effort. He was getting back, getting steals while guys was jogging up the floor. Like, he was great. He was probably their second best player tonight. And that's good. You need those guys to step up for a team that's pretty top heavy. Nurkic was amazing too. He pretty much dominated Looney on the glass, you know, was able to hit shots. I just think with this Warriors team, it's difficult because Draymond fixes a lot of the defensive errors. And I thought this team played well defensively in the second half. You know, I thought they figured it out. I don't think the Steph and Chris Paul lineup worked. I never thought it would work, but I especially don't think anything with Steph and another small guard is going to work. I think you have to put him out there with the big guards, the big wings, same with Chris Paul, and just keep flopping their minutes, only unless you're playing a really small team. I think that hinders us on the glass, and I think that was the reason we lost. We also missed a lot of great looks in the first half, which is why we were down. Then we had the big classic Warriors third quarter. Then in the fourth, you know, Wiggins didn't play towards the end of this game, which I don't know why he did it. Maybe he got hurt or something, but Kuminga was fine, but this team to get to that level, I think they're like a second round exit right now, maybe a first round exit, depending on who they play. To get to that level, you need nights like this from Moses Moody. You need a better night like tonight from Jonathan Kuminga. Like, you need that. You need the bench to play like that. When, like, it was a point where Steph got his 4th foul or his 5th foul. He went out. That bench went on a run. You need that, because when Steph is off the court, this team, who's going to be? You need that type of run from this team. And I think tonight, of course, they showed you a little bit that defensively they can maybe hold up with certain lineups. Offensively, they can get it going. They limited the turnovers in the first 3 quarters. They only had 6, had 5 in the 4th. That's not what you want to see. But for the majority of the game, they held on to the ball, and that was one of their biggest issues. Fouling was also another one of their biggest issues, which I think this game, the ticky-tack fouls, you got to limit that. But for the most part, a team without Draymond, defensively, you like what you see. Offensively, they got their good looks. You want to see them hit those. Steph usually hits those looks. He hit a couple more, you probably win this game. So there's definitely a positive thing to come out of this L.
In a matchup where Steph Curry goes 4 for 14 and Klay Thompson goes, 3 of 11, you lose by 4 points. Going against one of the better offenses in basketball in the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, on the other side, you didn't have Kevin Durant play his normal Kevin Durant offensive game, but nevertheless, you guys showed the capabilities that you can still hang with one of the better teams in the league. Now, we know the Phoenix Suns aren't at full strength. They were playing without Bradley Beal tonight, but there are some positive takeaways that you can have from this game. I look at the Golden State Warriors, and what's difficult with me is trusting this defense on a consistent basis. I'm with you, Riv. Draymond Green does fix a lot of these woes. I liked what I saw out of Kuminga, although I would like to see him not be as over-aggressive, did get into some foul trouble as well. I'd like to see him crash the boards late into the game. He made some huge plays for you guys by doing so. Unfortunately, missed those 2 free throws that could have swung the game for you. Yeah, that was bad. That was tough to watch. But again, there are some positives to take from this. In a game where Chris Paul, he's a great facilitator, but often scoring the basketball, he was a minus, was not able to make any shots down the stretch either. You guys were doing such a great job of holding on to the ball in the first half. And then you and I were talking about it before the show started. In that 4th quarter, you guys collapsed, have almost 5, 6 turnovers in that 4th quarter alone. So it's just a matter of cleaning up the little things. You guys know that this was far from your best, and you guys still put together a great performance. Now, for the Phoenix Suns, is Devin Booker the best player on the Phoenix Suns? I'm not ready to say that quite yet, but we could find out that answer very soon. Because Devin Booker and the versatility that he shows on the offensive side of the ball, it's really not many people in the league can do that, where you have him as a 3-level scorer. You mentioned is a great 3-point shooter, great in the mid-range, an amazing post player, can pass out of the post as well. Obviously, is an elite finisher at the rim. He virtually can do everything with the basketball in his hands. And the fact that he's such a solid playmaker on top of that as well, it virtually leaves him to be unguardable. Now, Kevin Durant has just been a model of consistency when it comes to efficiency and scoring the basketball. And we know that at his best, offensively, you still lean Kevin Durant. It's just a matter of, at this point in his career, which I still don't doubt, 34, 35, he can still get a job done. It's opening night, not going to overreact too much. He's still capable of being the best offensive player on this team. It was just a rough night. And so it's allowing the Devin Booker crowd to be a little bit louder because, again, deservedly so, he has been nothing short of amazing while being the main guy on the Phoenix Suns. So I'm going to wait to crown Devin Booker the king of Phoenix, but most definitely deserved. This was a solid performance from him and was the reason they came away with the W.
Did it not seem like we was all watching, did it not seem like every shot Kevin Durant took was tough? Like he didn't have
unnecessary.
He didn't have many open looks to really get a feel for the game or get comfortable. Like I felt like every shot he took was either a tough turnaround, a tough mid-range. Like he didn't go to the rack too much. He probably had like one layup. Like I felt like every shot he took was tough. We cannot.
Well, you're muted, bro.
I apologize. And that's why I feel like Devin Booker has the crown, because his shot diet is much more efficient and much more reliable. in the playoffs, we've seen 2 back-to-back playoffs where KD has not played at his efficient self, and I think it's because of his shot diet. Where Devin Booker, he's getting to the basket, he's getting more efficient looks. I'm actually optimistic on the Warriors. Chris Paul may have not shot the ball well, but he rebounded, he playmaked well, and he defended pretty well too. He had a possession on Kevin Durant where,
Loved it.
he was definitely the smaller guy, but definitely made his impact known. Regardless of what the box score says and people clowning Chris Paul because they think he's washed now, I think he's a plus to this Warriors offense. Where last year you had Jordan Poole, who was a scoring punch to the team. Chris Paul now becomes a floor general who facilitates for everybody with that second unit. I'm not a big fan of the lineup with Steph, but last year the problem with the Warriors bench was the youth. You got rid of a bunch of veterans and you had a youthful team, and Kuminga and Moody were not ready to take those next steps. I think this year both those guys are ready to take on a bigger role. Chris Paul helps them with doing that, and I love the Dario Saric addition as well. I think he's a very smart, high IQ player. So the bench for me, I'm more optimistic on, and I think Draymond fixes 80% of their defensive problems just because he's that great of an anchor defensively. The Suns, I actually came away more concerned with them from this game. While Devin Booker was amazing and Okogie played with high energy, and Nurkic, all the jokes about his defense all off season long were there. I thought he played an awesome game, and he made some plays where I'm like, Aiton's not doing that. Aiton's not shooting threes. Aiton's not passing like Nurkic.
You think Aiton's making that layup to end the game?
Aiton's not making that layup to end the game.
It wasn't even passing him the ball, I'll be honest.
That's facts.
But it's like, I came away worried from Phoenix because they had 18 turnovers on the game. And I don't think that's a problem that is a one-off thing, because this team doesn't have a true playmaker. This team is going to rely on Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and KD to be the main decision makers of this offense. And while Booker has playmaking capabilities, he's not a true playmaker, and he's not somebody that is going to take care of the ball necessarily well. So in saying that, I think the turnovers are going to persist if they don't get a point guard that can get everybody into their spots and control the pace of the game a little bit. And off the bench, they don't have any guy like that either. Jordan Goodwin felt lost out there. Eric Gordon shot 4 for 16. He had a big time 3 late in the game for the most part, but for the most part, he was chucking up shots and he was missing a lot of shots and just making a lot of boneheaded plays. And Drew Eubanks, I thought his backup minutes his minutes at the center spot weren't that good. I thought Drew Eubanks looked like a liability out there. Yuta was great though, but I think the Suns need to be very active in the trade market and find a point guard. And I think, a perfect guy that can fit is a guy like TJ McConnell. I think TJ McConnell, they don't have to go shooting for the stars. Just somebody who plays defense, who is a plus playmaker, I think could fit well with this team.
Is Tyus Jones shooting for the stars?
That's $14 million that I don't think they have.
I think that's shooting for the stars. They need like a DeLon Wright, like a TJ McConnell DeLon Wright.
Is solid. I like DeLon Wright. He comes in, good defender, good playmaker. You mentioned it. I think like Okogie, Yuta, Nurkic, they were the role players that popped off the screen for sure. Like this game, like Yuta was he was one of the guys that had the energy on the defensive end. He was making plays, trying his hardest. Nurkic too. Okogie, we don't got to speak to because we know he was amazing this game. You mentioned it though. The depth is a effort concern right now, and I think defensively as a whole they weren't locked in. Like Okogie was giving energy, Booker was giving energy, but it was like other guys weren't. It wasn't a unit. Like they have to get that continuity. That's what they have. This is a new team, a fresh new team, so we got to always remember that. So they got to have that continuity. But you mentioned the 18 turnovers. Yeah, credit to the Warriors for playing defense, but a lot of it was bad passes, not having that playmaker. So you maybe a guy like TJ McConnell, DeLon, right? Like they definitely. I don't think they're done. I think they'll make a move down the road. They still have to wait till Bradley Beal comes back because I'm sure Bradley Beal offsets about 4 or 5 of those turnovers. So maybe it's not 18 if Beal plays. Maybe it's like 13 or 14. But you got to remember Draymond didn't play, so defensively maybe it goes right back up. So it's all these type of things. But I definitely think they'll make a move down the line.
We got these super chats. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. We can read super chats.
Ricky said, how much Patreon members for Drew to wear a Luka shirt? If
Ooh.
Braun came to Dallas, he wouldn't have to worry about the offense efficiencies that LA has.
He is recruiting.
I don't hate Luka that much. It could be the
400,
next Patreon
400.
number.
Say
All right,
400.
fine. That's fine. I
have
really
a
don't have
Luka
a problem
jersey.
with Luka. I'll wear it happily. I don't
Drew,
have
you
a
have to
single
lie.
problem
You have to
with
say
Luka.
I hate Luka. I hate him so bad. You
Oh
got to
yeah,
cap.
no, he's my least favorite player in the league. Listen, do I think that he's a little bit overloved? Sure. Does that take away from how great he is? Nah.
This next super chat is probably going to tie into what you were going to say next, Drew. This from Supernova 23333. Do you think the Suns can beat the Nuggets in a 7-game series from what you've seen from them tonight?
It does tie into what I want to say because again, Riv mentioned it a little bit earlier. The Warriors missed a lot of open looks in that first half. This defense still has its ways to go before getting to where it ultimately wants to be. Now, you look at the score, of course, the Warriors only scored 104 points. But again, this is with Steph Curry struggling. We saw Wiggins struggle offensively. Chris Paul struggle scoring the basketball. Of course, Klay Thompson struggling to score the basketball. This was a very down game for the Golden State Warriors. But again, it was a lot of missed opportunity. I worry about the Suns' defense in the long run. I really don't have concerns about Kevin Durant. I know these last couple of seasons, when we see in the playoffs, he hasn't been his usual efficient self. But again, when it comes down to the end of the day, you trust a talent like Kevin Durant. But defensively, going up against the Nuggets, it's not going to be pretty. We saw it last season. We saw that in the 4 games that the Nuggets beat the Suns, it wasn't even close.
Just quickly, because we were talking about the Wiggins and Kuminga thing. Steve Kerr said, whoever's playing the best will finish the game. I fucking love that. I love that. Internal competition, man. Let's get it back, man. Stop
Internal competition is fine, but at a time there needs to be where you have Wiggins and Kuminga on the court together because they're your plus defenders.
Yeah, for sure. But
Kuminga played better tonight, though. His defense on KD was outstanding.
Yeah. Wiggins, if he didn't miss all them layups, he probably would have stayed in the game.
I felt like Wiggins just didn't have a shot tonight. He didn't at all.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, he had a few. It was just he had a couple fast break ones he missed. Some good looks. And defensively, rebounding, Kuminga was just being more aggressive on the boards. He was basically doing what Wiggins used to do. Defensively, he was better, and on the boards, he was better. If you're not giving that, Kerr's going to probably sit you and try to put in one of them guards, which is why I hate. He tried Corey Joseph. I really don't like that. I'm pissed off.
Santos goes, Drew will wear the Patrick Mahomes shirt one day.
No.
I don't know. I don't think he will.
I think right now the Suns can't beat the Nuggets in a 7-game series. I think, it's early in the season. It's game 1. Like, as of right now where we stand, I don't think they can beat them at all.
I don't want to answer until I see Beal with this lineup. That's the thing, because I think this offense can provide some serious problems. I think Beal brings another dynamic to the offense, and I think Denver, they have answers, but it's just going to be a shootout. I think I will still favor Denver, but I'm very interested to see this Phoenix lineup with Bradley Beal.
So that's going to do it for our instant reaction on the NBA season opener. Tomorrow we will be recording the new episode of the podcast. We'll be talking about NFL stuff. Brock Purdy and his not MVP game. It wasn't an MVP. It is the truth. The truth is the truth. And we'll be talking about that and other stuff. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.